Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you, or for that matter, anyone, woke up and said, I think I'm going to go buy myself some marketing strategy? Right? Never. I mean, I sell marketing strategy, but nobody wants what I sell. They want the problems solved. They want the problems that strategy can solve. So I want to go over a few of the deadly mistakes that I see businesses make when it comes to marketing, because it's my best way to talk about the ultimate benefit of a marketing strategy and a plan. All right, so number one, no vision for where a business is headed, no roadmap of what success looks like. That's really one of the first parts of strategy, is to figure out, here's where we want to be, I don't know, next quarter, next year, 3 years, depending upon what book you read, you pick your time frame. But having some idea of where you're trying to go is an obvious first step. Now, number two, trying to be all things to all people. And I don't think people necessarily wake up and say, I'm going to be all things to all people. But there's this sort of inclination to think that if I sell X, and I don't know, let's say it's accounting, and anyone who needs a tax return done is an ideal client, or anybody who can pay me is an ideal client, is where that comes from. But what we have found is that if you can't specifically talk about a problem you solve for a very specific and narrow market, and with a very specific way, you won't have any brand. You will have confused clients, and especially the right clients. And what that leads to is picking up some of the wrong clients. What I've found historically is that about 20% of the people that a business is working with today are actually ideal. And so what if we figured out who they were? What if we figured out the journey, the behavior that would attract them? We're going to get more repeat business, we're going to do profitable business, and we're going to get more referrals. What if we focused all of our attention on those folks? All right, number three, trying to be just like the competition. Here again, I don't think we set out to try to be just like the competition, but it is pretty common to look around your industry and say, well, that's what this company does, and that's what everybody in this industry does. And so we ultimately end up looking like the competition, and we end up talking about what we do as opposed to the problem that we solve. And there's just no way to build trust doing that. You're going to compete primarily on price, because if you don't give them a reason to see how you're different, they're going to default to the only thing they can measure, which typically is price. You're not going to attract the right fit. By helping somebody understand that you get their problem, you can promise to solve their problem, you're going to get people that are the right fit. And let's face it, today, getting talent's tough. So attracting talent and staff, it's hard for them to get excited if there's no differentiation, no compelling message. Number four, you're probably wasting precious resource. There's so many channels out there, so little time, right? So we're probably wasting money throwing things at kind of the idea of the week, spreading ourselves too thin. There's just no way to gain any momentum in any single channel. I've already kind of mentioned this, but I'm going to focus on number five, which is competing on price. If you can't build trust, if you can't differentiate, you're going to constantly compete on price. The problem with competing on price is then there's no profit to invest. You're going to attract tire kickers, the wrong kind of clients. You ultimately can't innovate because you can't invest in innovating. And here's the thing that I think a lot of people underestimate. When you get the wrong clients, you chase the wrong clients, the opportunity cost in serving those clients, non-profitable clients, is huge. Going back to hiring, you can't hire right if you can't charge enough. You can't outsource right, which many of us need to do, if you can't charge enough. All right, and number six, overwhelmed with the idea of the week. It is so easy to go this way, go that way, go this way, waste time, cause confusion. Ultimately, what happens, what leads to this is really no confidence about what actually works. No data really to help you make decisions about what works. So there's always going to be more to do than you have time to do it. So being able to work from a plan and a strategy allows you to ignore the idea of the week. And ultimately, number 7, no way to measure success. I mean, tracking needs to be based on objectives. And you can get as granular and nerdy as you want about that, but even just having some measurement of understanding what works, are you making progress, is the starting point. And all of these problems, all of these challenges add up to inconsistent leads and sales. So if the bottom line is you want consistent lead flow and you want more customers, more profitable customers, more ideal profitable customers, then maybe this marketing strategy thing is something you should take a look at.